Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Footy Times after a slight break. But today it has been such a busy season, and there are so many slurry of games. So today's video, we are trying to do something different. We are trying to be more candid, and just talking about the state of the clubs in general, where they are, what games they have played, how shit they have been, how good they have been. I think there is going to be
Looking up,
a
looking
spectrum
up
of
there, it's
emotions.
looking up there. That's one emotion.
Yes,
Avinash is in on top of.
yes, yeah. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be a spectrum of emotions through the discussions of the clubs. Uh, but before we start, as always, please like, share, and subscribe our content. It just motivates us more to do uh, more of these videos and hopefully entertain and inform you in a way. So with that, let's start on to the last year's champions. It feels like a distant
Ah,
past now.
like
Uh,
with everything in
we
life,
can,
everything feels like a different life right now. So this one's no different,
yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah. So we'll start with Liverpool and the games they've played, and just whatever you want to talk, Avinash. I know
Oh,
a lot of it is going to be in repeat
Get
mode.
things
Avinash,
out of your
Avi,
out of
Avinash,
your head, Avinash.
think of no, I was going to say, Avinash, this is therapy. Think of this as a safe haven. Go for it.
yeah. Before I go for it, though, I'm kind of bored of talking about the same things over and over. So I'm going to ask you guys. I'll give my opinions later, but what do you think is wrong with Liverpool?
What's wrong with Liverpool? I think everything is wrong with Liverpool in the sense that
Okay,
Yeah,
next,
a
they've played.
little bit more
I
next.
detail.
mean, everyone's been talking about the injuries they've had, which is kind of unusual. But been hit. I think I saw some sort of chart where it said that they had about like 1,000 injuries, accumulated injuries, all across. I mean, all over throughout the season rather. And then they've had. I think there's also the aspect of your strikers misfiring. Obviously, your defenders aren't haven't been consistent throughout. And then there's also Klopp's in. I don't know if you call that. He's so gung ho on using the same sort of tactics and the high line defense. I think there's a lot of things that are being exploited by the by everyone right at this point in time. It's not just the top six, but like the lower teams who are even battling relegation for that matter are also taking advantage of Liverpool in
Yeah.
that sense. What
So,
do you guys
like,
think?
that's an interesting stat.
As in,
Someone.
for me, I think a lot of. Go ahead,
No, I
Rahul.
was just about to say, like, there is this interesting stat. Like, this is the first time ever in Liverpool's history that they have lost five back-to-back games. Like, this
Home
is
At
games, I
home.
think.
home. Yeah, yeah, at
Yeah.
Anfield. Sorry. Yeah, yeah, home games. So that's like a pretty incredible stat if you think
And
about it.
that is on the back of a 68 game unbeaten run.
Yeah, I know, I
It's
know.
almost like
So
we're trying
like,
to get as many losses as we put together in unbeaten streak. We're
yeah,
breaking records
No.
for all the wrong reasons right now after doing
Yeah.
the opposite.
As in, for me, I think uh, as much as I enjoy the downfall and demise of Liverpool, I think a lot of the issues are off the pitch. I feel, as in, yeah, there are issues on the pitch, but I feel it's just like the mentality has just gone. As in, players look disinterested, especially against the Chelsea game. Like they were just jogging around, and that is not like what you see from Liverpool. As in, you knew that they are not going to score a goal. And the
they
other
had a
thing
couple
which
of good chances though. Like they
Yeah,
had
they had
really good chances.
the
It was
the
not like they were not.
the
Yeah,
Mane
and
chance
Mane
was
chance
really
was
good though,
amazing.
wasn't
Like
as in
should
Yeah,
I
but
have.
you
to be
expect Liverpool to create more than two good chances in a game, right?
yeah, as in
You're
more
not going
than
to win
that,
too many games with two good chances. Yeah, go ahead.
as
I'm
in
sorry.
more than that, I think the chances probably were earlier on, right, in the game. And like when you were talking about the 80th minute, 85, there was zero intensity. Chelsea were so comfortable. They could just be standing there and nothing would happen. And on top of it, one thing that has been absolutely shocking is the in-game management. I have no idea
Oh,
what
the
the
substitutes.
substitutes
Yeah.
uh, did. The choices obviously baffle me. I think it is again analogous to the discussions we probably previously had about managers trusting certain players and not trusting certain players,
But how
even though
many
fans
players
might
are
think
left in
differently.
Liverpool to actually like trust or not? Like it's
Yeah.
just
Actually, that
self-selecting squad at this point.
Yeah, actually, that is the one thing which I do
Actually,
have some amount of sympathy with Klopp, because I mean, like most things, I've said this before on the show. Our squad is not
so
good enough. It's
that's
not been good
something
enough for a long
I
time.
wanted to ask you,
It's
Avinash.
been
Sorry to break, but do you like this question was asked to me by you lot before? So, do you think Klopp has the dressing room or not? Like, since you are already talking about Klopp, I thought I'll just ask you. Like, do you feel the players are
oh, yeah.
playing for him, are
I
not playing for him?
yeah.
I don't think, I don't think there is such an issue. I didn't see any issue with regards to effort or commitment. It's just there is fatigue and there is a collective lack of confidence. And basically, everything that they were doing before is something they're still trying to do, but it's not working. And there are reasons for that. Like, I mean, we have to go into the injuries. Like you said, I think I saw a different stat. I think it's been the number of days out with injury, which is, I think, 204 or something like that. And the next highest is Leicester, who have about half that number of days out for players. So to give you a perspective, right? We've lost all our centre backs. We've lost Henderson. We've lost Fabinho for a good 3 weeks in the last 3 weeks. That's the equivalent of taking out Stones, Diaz, Laporte, Gundogan, and Rodri from Man City. Now, I mean, you guys know what sort of an impact and on top of that, look at our squad and look at City's. How do you think City would
But
have been able to cope with those injuries with the squad that they have at their disposal?
Avinash, the question over here is also about the fact that you guys haven't been able to
Right.
score. Like
Yeah.
your
Yeah,
strikers have been a
I'm getting there.
shadow of themselves. Yeah,
So
go ahead.
here's my theory, right? Yeah, there is a lack of confidence, there is fatigue. I think those are factors. But here's what I think is happening. It's the centre back crisis. I've mentioned this before on the show. There is a knock-on effect to all parts of the pitch. Because of that, we're not able to have our regular midfielders in there. And we're still trying to play, like you said, we're trying to play a high line. We're trying to press. And the thing is, I said, so the front three, right? I mean, I've been saying this for a long time now. They are not very good when it comes to decision making in the final third, contrary to what people think. They are very good players in their own right. They have a lot of skills, but precision and decision making are not in that list. Maybe Bobby, when he's at his best, is good at those things, but Mane and Salah don't bring that to the table. They rely on volume. The thing is, they get the ball so often because they can rely on the midfield to turn over the ball, and they're constantly getting the ball usually in the final third, and they can keep going at it. You miss it, you give the ball away, no problem, you'll get the ball again, because they have a rock behind them that they can trust in. The foundation is totally shaky right now. Our centre backs are not there because of that. Our midfielders are having to go there now. We don't even have them. Henderson is out for the season. A midfield of Thiago, Wijnaldum. I mean, geez, it might look good on paper, but I think Thiago has really struggled with getting to terms with off-the-ball demands. I think there was a clip that Jamie Redknapp was analysing on Sky Sports today after the game, where the front three are pressing, that Salah is trying to press the player on the ball, and he's looking behind and there's nobody there. Thiago is just jogging along. If that's Henderson, he's right on top. And pressing, as you know, it has to be synchronized. There has to be synergy. You can't just go alone. Today, the number of times I saw our front three or front four pressing, and there was absolutely acres behind them. That is not how you press. You cannot press like that. That is so easy for Chelsea to play through, and on top of that, you're playing a high line. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, that is one place I do criticize Klopp. I just feel like I get it. There is not much time to try new tactics. And he said this last weekend. Liverpool are, we are Liverpool. We have to be dominant. We just can't park the bus and play counter-attacking football all of a sudden. But at the end of the day, you have to adapt to the players that you have. I don't think we have the players to keep playing like that anymore. We're just still trying to play
Yeah,
the
more
same way. And
opportunistic.
yeah, we're just expecting things to work. Look at Thomas Tuchel. He changed 5 players today. Okay, fine. We don't have that many changes to make within the squad. Although I do feel maybe Milner and Keita could have come in, because if you want pressing, if you want tenacity, Thiago and Curtis aren't going to give you that. If that's what you want, Milner and Keita would probably have been better options. But other than that, there is not much that he can do. The options on the bench are, I mean, I've said this before. This is all down to our owners. The likes of Origi, Shaqiri, Oxlade-Chamberlain should not be at this club. It's just been a case of, you know, we can't afford to spend big money on them. Just keep giving them one more season. Our first team will always be there. They'll bail us out. And now when you have an injury crisis like this, when they have to come and step in and make an impact, they're not good enough. What do you expect? So there's just, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say.
When you're talking
full spectrum.
when you're talking about the owners and their lack of interest, you almost sounded like a United fan.
It's not so much
It's just that we have been saying that for the last 7 years, and you have been saying it for the last 6, probably 3 months.
I think those things come out when the team is not playing properly.
Because they have invested in the first team. Everybody can see that. But the problem is beyond like the first 12, 13, it's a really poor squad. We're not good enough to this. As we have seen, probably not even good enough.
It's that Moneyball theory, right?
What's that?
It is that Moneyball theory, as in they are trying to just invest, put all their eggs in one basket, as in one set of players, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. It's financially constrained. We only spend what we make. That's the long and short of it, right? At the end of the day, there is no external cash injection of any sort. So you are automatically constrained. You cannot afford to just go and pay 50 million for every single player. We are not Man City. Let's get that straight. Or Chelsea, for that matter. We can't do that. So,
but Avinash, do you want to give FSG the benefit of the doubt? I mean, we obviously are in the pandemic climate. You know, that's obviously taken a hit on finances with fans not being in there. Then the fact also that Liverpool have proven that they were able to sustain themselves and perform unbelievably well for the past 2 seasons. So 2 to 3 seasons. So just gauging by that, if I'm the owner, I'll be like, okay, even if they're struggling, there's no way in hell they're probably going to drop out of the top 4. That's what my thinking is going to be. As far as or you wait another summer to actually put whatever money you want into the team, basically gauging like when the fans are going to come in and all. And I think the fans are going to be expected to be coming in sometime at the end of the season, and so I think those are the factors I would think that the owners, at least the FSG owners, would probably take into account.
I mean, 2 things there, right? Yeah, okay. We are in a pandemic, but I think what I want to go back to is the summer of 2019. I've said this before, where we won the Champions League. The stock was at an all-time high. We just finished a point behind Man City, and we went and bought Adrian. Divock Origi was on his way out that summer. Shaqiri had barely been seen during the previous season. They said, okay, Origi scored a couple of goals. Fantastic. We'll just keep him. We'll just give him a new contract. When it was clear he wasn't good enough, he'd barely played for like almost 2 seasons until he came up and scored 2 goals, whatever, in the semi-final and final. How does that warrant giving him a new contract? And this is it. This is the concept. This is just about, this idea of making do with players. We'll just make do with players. We might not have to rely. We might have to play them in the number. Why do you think we've performed so bad? Because those are the players who play there. And every single time we go out at the first opportunity.
But don't you think Klopp has a say in this? Like, oh, you know what? Should we keep this player or whatever?
I'm sure he does, but then that's just it, right? There is not much he can do. Of course, he'd want better players there, but like I said, he's not somebody who's
but a part of it is you are saying like he is also not changing the type of play that Liverpool is sort of executing on pitch, right? So it's not really just the owners to blame at this point. Sure, you have a lot of players off. You don't have that sort of decisiveness at the back or whatever. But then, going back to the Man City example, if you think like they also didn't have a lot of good players. Like KDB was out. They really don't have a striker these days. I know it's a totally different thing. I feel like they have quality players though, so it's still not a one-to-one comparison. But still, Klopp has got to the result is not what still the Liverpool team is. Like the Liverpool team is still better than what the results are coming out to be, is what I feel. So So
Sure.
somewhere,
Yeah. I mean,
somewhere,
there's no likes of Burnley and
right,
Brighton at
right.
home and
So somewhere over
so
there,
many
it's not
games.
just
Like,
the
yeah.
owners to
No.
blame.
I do agree that this is the thing, right? This is something everybody can see now. We are just trying to play the same way that we've played for the last 2 seasons. Well, is it right? I don't know. Is it easy to change it up? I don't know. Maybe it's difficult. It's difficult to change things up. But the fact is that some managers are more tactically flexible in general. I mean, you see Thomas Tuchel, right? The way he's changed things around. They
Yeah.
played pretty much. They were ready to just absorb pressure today. And they're generally a team who like to keep the ball. If you look at the previous games, and another manager I can think of is Nagelsmann, who constantly is changing formations, is changing the system, he's changing the way they play. Klopp isn't like that. He generally tends to have one approach and then little tweaks here and there. And we did make a tweak in the last game against Sheffield United. I think he pushed Curtis Jones forward, kind of almost to help our front three, and then Trent was playing a slightly more reserved role. But beyond that, the basic philosophy stays the same, the way of playing stays the same, the formation more or less stays the same. So that's just how it is. And
Sorry, when is Jota coming back?
that's the thing about these managers, right? A lot of these, I mean, even Pep, for example, they don't change the way they play. They will never, I don't think you'll ever see Pep suddenly deciding to go 4-4-2 and saying, I'm just going to play a low block and counter attack, even though they could because they have the players to do that. So it's just one of those things.
The other thing I noticed about the Liverpool team is that so like I think I mentioned earlier as well that Liverpool have this like well-oiled machine that they use for the past 2 years, and then certain components started falling off, and now even if you kind of put in certain parts, replacement parts, they don't really the team still doesn't gel really well. And you see like Trent Alexander-Arnold. I mean, the guy was supposed to be considered the best right back in Europe. I think it was last season. And this season has been a shadow of himself. Like his positioning has been kind of crappy. I don't know if it's the fact that he's had a lot of backup in the defense by the centre back partnership with Van Dijk and Gomez, and even Henderson for that matter, to provide that backup. And he wasn't getting exposed, but right now he's getting terribly exposed. His decision making is poor as well. So what do you have to say about that? Like what can I would say, what do you think Klopp should do at this point in time? Should he revert to a back three and try and
We don't have enough centre halves. We can't put two centre halves on the pitch, so we're never going to be able to go to a back three. But yeah, I mean, what can I say? I don't know. Yeah, sure, we can probably try to play a little deeper. I don't know if we play this line is ridiculously high. Let's face it. I think this is something that even like in 18, 19, I don't think we were this high up the pitch. I think this is something that he implemented since VAR came into the Premier League. There were a lot of people talking about at the start of last season that this line is noticeably higher than it was the previous seasons, and it feels like season on season it's got higher and higher. I think he can drop it back, but then it is not as easy as saying just drop 10 yards back, because then the way you play completely changes. You can't, because at the end of the day you have to be compact. The lines have to be compact, so you can't press as high. You have to sit off a little bit, and it's not a style which any of these players have played or used to playing. So it's really difficult, I really don't know. I wish I could say, yeah, just change it, go to a mid block or a low block, but I know it's not as easy as that. So I think we just have to soldier on. We just have to soldier on. The season's a write-off. It's going to be really hard to get Champions League football. I think it's just as well that we prepare ourselves for the worst, that we're going to be in Europa League, or worse still, miss out on Europe altogether. And summer, a lot of things have to be looked at. I don't know what business we can do. I'm pretty sure we'll make a couple of signings, but yeah, I mean, there are question marks. We need to see that front three. Mane and Salah are going to be off for the African Cup of Nations next January. That's a real concern. I don't know if we're even going to sign a forward. Van Dijk's going to be back, but we don't know what impact the injuries has on him. Is he going to be the same player? I think we should go and get another centre half who's kind of the next Van Dijk almost, who's of the same profile, maybe not there yet, but close. I think that is absolutely paramount, because, yeah, like I said, we don't know what shape Van Dijk's going to come back in. We probably need to replace Wijnaldum. I think it's going to be a big summer, but as far as this season goes, I'll just take whatever I can get at this point. In fact, I've gotten to the point where I've stopped looking at the table because it's just depressing. Because
We are
every
coming
week,
from behind, Avinash. Just a heads up.
yeah, I think finishing below
Arsenal have
Arsenal
suddenly
would be
start.
the absolute, like the final
Look
nail
at
in the coffin for this season, and I can see that happening. Honestly, they what 6 points behind now with a game in hand,
Yeah.
and the way Arsenal are playing. I'm almost at a point where I'm looking at Arsenal for inspiration.
Yeah, yeah.
Said
I
before,
was
there
gonna
was
say,
a
look,
period in the season where they were struggling for goals. They couldn't by win. They kept losing, and Arteta changed it around. To be fair,
I mean,
he brought some young players in. He changed the style. It became more adventurous, and I don't really see what we can do. I mean, we don't even have the players. Maybe yeah, Jota coming
yeah,
back might
when is he
help.
coming back? That's what I was asking of players.
I mean, he did
he's already back.
come
Oh,
on against
okay.
Chelsea, so
he
he's
did
back.
come on.
Keita, I think hopefully we see more of him and he stays fit. I think those two players can have an impact, but on the whole, I don't see. Yeah, I don't see who's going to be our Smith Rowe. I don't see who's going to be our Saka. Well, to be fair, Saka was already there, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I think it's just. I mean, go again. It's going to be the same old thing. We're going to play the same way. I know that, and yeah, don't be surprised if we lose again this season, and maybe even in the next game. So just
On that
about
note, should
game.
should we segue into
Yeah.
a slightly happier fan maybe? Uh, uh, like
Rahul.
someone who has started focusing on the table more as compared to
I
someone who has
mean,
started stopped
it's
looking at the table.
I still I don't feel very confident that we are going to break into the top four. Sure, the teams are sort of faltering. United had a bunch of draws on the way right now, last couple of weeks. Leicester, we blew Leicester out of the water. That game was amazing to see. But like I really, I mean, I'm optimistic, but I'm still a bit pessimistic, if that makes sense. Like, I still feel like Europa might be our ace in the ace card to sort of get into the Champions League next season, um, because like Chelsea is back again performing, right? So they are for sure going to be in the top four. This like the way they were playing today against Liverpool was pretty amazing. So they are going to stay there. Um, United and Leicester, I feel if they still sort of have a few good games, they can sustain the top four. Because it's crazy to think after the run of games that Leicester and United had, they are still second and third. So that's weird.
Yeah,
That's how the table is so weird. So I feel like definitely it's within the range with a lot of teams faltering here and there, but it's going to be tough top four. So I feel like Europa is sort of going to be our calling card to the UCL. And man, after that performance against Benfica, like the heart-stopping performance against Benfica, it might be just that it might work out for us, Europa. I don't know. I mean, I'm not pinning my hopes there, and it doesn't look like Arteta is sort of preferring Europa over league or whatnot, because he's definitely like playing all the good players in Europa also, and I don't see him.
Is it? I mean, he made a lot of changes for Leicester, right? After the, it seems like his A team is playing in the Europa League
But
now. Well, it was the B team
well,
before,
well,
almost.
it's still
What
not
do you
a
think?
B team, right? I mean, sure, Saka wasn't there. He is definitely part of our A team. Apart from that, Aubameyang,
Odegaard.
Odegaard did play, right? I don't know if he came up.
I think Pepe,
But okay,
Willian,
Pepe,
Emil
yes.
Smith Rowe.
Yeah.
Sorry, Willian,
I
yes,
mean,
but
Emil Smith
Pepe,
Rowe is
you
still.
dude, you guys can't really discount Pepe. Like he's back. I think
No,
like
no, no. Yeah,
he's
he's
not part
good.
of a
He's
B
good.
team now. Is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, if it's like a Europa League final, what team would he pick right now? Is what I'm saying. I think probably Pepe doesn't get in.
Yeah,
I think it'll be Odegaard,
Saka and
Smith
yeah,
Rowe,
yeah.
Saka, and
Maybe you're
Aubameyang, right?
right.
Saka. Yeah.
No, I still feel he might still sneak in on the
Or
right.
Aubameyang,
He
Lacazette.
might, because at this point Lacazette is also not being preferred. So I feel like still that, so attacker, like if you say a hypothetical final, Aubameyang, Saka Saka and Pepe is what I think the team might be. That's like current form I feel. But anyways, like he was brilliant in Leicester game. Like we almost
Yeah.
sort of got that penalty which was overturned by VAR, which was Pepe. Then the actual David Luiz goal that happened, that was Pepe winning the free kick. He did put in the final goal, the third goal that against Leicester. So he was present, like, and if you guys see the game, I feel like he was, a, like, probably the man of the match for that game. I feel like his work rate was amazing, like off the ball when he just sort of, and a few anticipations and pressing when he lost the ball. You see his vigor to sort of go back and win the ball. He had a pretty amazing game, I feel. So yeah, I feel like he's playing well, and the other thing, Willian, man, like he registered two assists in that game against Leicester.
Yeah, he did. The Willian seems to be our
Is it
favorite
Saka
person
and
to talk
Willian are the
about.
two players we've talked about the
Yeah, but
most?
Zaka, Willian, and Pepe.
Willian's earning his paycheck right
Yeah,
now.
Good and bad. Saka good, Willian bad. It's always that trend
but no, like, but
every single
Leicester he
time.
did play well. Like there
Yeah.
was this moment where he sort of did a back heel, sort of.
Is he out of his
I
contract?
don't know. No, we talked about
Is
it right last week. He
he,
still has 2 years or 3 years on his contract, so he's not out of contract.
uh,
But yeah, you definitely see him
Oh
playing.
yeah, yeah.
Like you see the old sort of Chelsea Willian in like the Leicester game. But like, and to be honest, I wanted to sort of talk a bit about the City game. I don't know what you guys had to say about that, but I definitely feel like 1-0 and we played good. I feel like I was ready for a massacre on field, like just the usual.
yeah, as in the first
Yeah,
15 minutes, I think City were completely
yeah,
dominant. And again, that Europa, the fatigue from Europa is
right.
always there. I just feel that the Thursday Sunday schedule is
Yeah.
ridiculously hard on teams, especially when you don't switch
Yeah,
around a
now
lot.
you guys know since you
Uh,
guys dropped down to the Europa League.
I
as
just
in,
think
we have been there.
and we are going to
Yeah.
be there soon, most likely. No, I just think Pep felt sorry for his buddy
No, I
Arteta,
don't
and he
think so.
just felt like City just
No,
eased off.
like
They could
initially,
have cracked down
no, but
if they wanted to
initially,
through the game.
like the missed opportunities by Sterling. I think Sterling could have gotten a hat trick in the first 7 minutes. I think
Yeah,
of play, he
yeah,
messed
Yeah.
up pretty bad. But no, I don't feel like Pepe, sorry, not Pepe, Pep, like was soft on Arsenal. Like Arsenal did play pretty nicely. Like we did create chances, I feel, and like off the ball pressure and all was also pretty good. So I definitely was interested in the second half of the game. Like we definitely were in the game, and I was hoping if we could sneak in a goal, and there was a point for taking for Arsenal, I feel. So I mean, yeah, I don't feel like sure you might say that Man City were not in their element, but like it was not the massacre that I think that it would have ended up as like usual. I think 11 games is what Arsenal haven't won against City, like in Premier League. 4 years, I think. Last we won against City, it's some crazy stats, I feel. But yeah, overall, I feel like definitely a lot of players are coming to the party. Uh, Partey is also coming. Partey is
Partey is
also
coming to the
coming back
party.
to party. He had a good
Party.
few minutes in against Leicester. Willian is showing up. Like. Did you guys see that run that Mari had against Vardy? That one-on-one run. That was
Yeah,
amazing. Like I didn't see
Yeah.
Mari as that kind of a player who had legs to catch up on Vardy. I feel like that's like Vardy's going to get his one Arsenal goal for sure at that point, and he didn't, which was pretty surprising. But yeah, I feel like a lot of players are showing up for Arsenal. Cedric, I feel Tierney is missing in the last couple of games due to injury and all, and Cedric has been like a good backup for Arsenal. But yeah, I just wanted to ask you guys, like, where do you feel like Arsenal is going to end up? Like, what is Arsenal's position going to be? Not in
See,
EPL, like generally, I feel.
I think they'll
yeah,
finish in the
I
top
think
half. That's about
Sorry,
it.
I
what?
yeah,
I think
top half.
Yeah. Maybe not 10th.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Top 8 maybe?
As
I
in, to
don't
be
know.
yeah,
honest,
I
as in
think it's
Everton,
seventh or eighth.
West Ham, they are looking
Too many
more ominous than,
competition.
Arsenal.
than, as in they might just sneak in.
Because I don't feel Arsenal have, like, sure, there are sort of run off play where like 4 or 5 games Arsenal do play well, but then the other 2 or 3 games they switch off and then just lose games. It's not like even draws. So
Yeah. They
So,
just
I feel that Europa is where they'll go further. I can see them being at least in the
really.
semi-finals or
Yeah.
probably even the finals,
but it's like,
because
yeah,
because
sorry,
like
go ahead.
wins like Benfica are like special. As in, like generally they do give you a good positive kick up, and you can it is a good confidence building exercise.
There are not too many good teams left in the Europa. It's really bad this time. Man United and Milan, I guess, are the
Yeah.
two. Maybe Tottenham, but yeah, there's not.
Spurs, yeah.
Spurs maybe, like Jose
Wait,
is good at that.
But okay, I had a question actually, uh, in case you didn't have anything else. So there's been
Yeah.
a lot of debate recently. I've seen a few of the fan channels and stuff. So do you think Arteta is doing a good job overall? I think there is optimism around Arsenal, right, at this point in time.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, they are 10th,
Yeah.
yeah.
which is pretty bad by any measure. So I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you
Wait,
think
I
now? Is
guess
Arteta doing a good
I,
job?
I'll let Sheldon and Nisar go first, and then I'll say what I have to say.
well, first, I mean, I'm not too sure what's the lowest Arsenal have finished with Emery? That's my question.
Emery.
I think it was only one season,
Yeah.
right? He had only
One
one
full
full
season.
seven,
Yeah.
six. I think they were
I don't
fifth.
think I don't
Sorry,
think it
fifth.
was tenth.
Sixth,
I don't remember, but
sixth.
yeah.
I think they just
Fifth and
missed out of
sixth.
top four.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because I mean, I think you need to. There's a lot of this romantic aspect when you have like a former player managing your team, and that's and I obviously understand that with Oli managing United right now, but I mean, Arteta has done a pretty decent job of getting rid of some of the dead wood. He did get rid of Ozil, who was on very high wages. He's
I
kind
mean,
of got young
results
players
wise, because
coming in.
they have spent. I mean, they got Partey, Pepe the season before, so they have
Yeah,
spent money. It's not like they haven't. So I mean, just results wise, right? For
Yeah.
Arsenal Football Club to be 10th
I
is
mean,
not a good look.
But I mean,
it
but
is
it's two
not a
different
good look.
questions you are asking. Like, being tenth is bad, but you're really asking about how Arteta is sort of um, managing the team, right? So, so I
Yeah.
feel it's they are uh, like in the current run of games, anyways. I feel like um, he is doing a pretty good job at sort of how he's managing. Like all, you see all those small sort of routines that are showing up in the games, and the way like the old Arsenal sort of TikTok passing and all those things, kind of a thing. So there is definitely been a switch from the earlier sort of like just run down the wing, put ball in, run down like numbers that we discussed, right? It's the Excel sheet and stuff that we discussed in the earlier videos. So there's definitely that shift that he has brought about in like current times. I feel um, we are playing much better from the back. Players are linking up nicely. He has made the personal changes to make sure that his sort of formula is implemented on pitch, and that shows up, right? He's not playing players just for the name. He's playing players who are actually playing good. So I feel like he's doing changes. Like sure, we are at 10th place, but I don't think that's really indicative of how sort of he as a manager is sort of playing right now.
But don't you think that the fact that he's going to be, I mean, if say Arsenal end up in eighth or tenth spot, by the end of the season, you think he's going to be able to kind of attract those talented players to actually
So
elevate Arsenal as a team?
so to be honest, I feel like there with the current, like just looking at the current team, right? We do have a lot of players, nice players, and I feel like if we don't need a lot of shuffle in the squad. Maybe a right back is a good option to have, um, and maybe a striker because I've heard rumors that Lacazette might leave, so maybe a striker, but that's going to be a replacement. But apart from that, I feel like there is potential within the team to build a good team for next year. I feel without spending a lot. Like we don't have the crisis that we just talked about. What Avinash said about Liverpool. Like we don't have to do a mass exodus of players. I think, as you said, or some Nisarg said, Arteta has done a pretty good job of letting go of the players that were not performing already. Like Ozil is out. We let go of Kolasinac. I don't think he's coming back. Ganduzi is not going to come back. Mustafi is gone. So I think the squad wise. I don't feel we need to attract a lot of. I mean, in hordes, I feel. a few players sure will be a good addition.
As in, one thing I quickly want to add there. I
Yeah.
think, see, a lot of it. I feel like I think coming from as a United fan, I think there has been so much lowering of expectations for clubs like
Correct.
United and Arsenal that now you suddenly feel like the target of the season is top four. That's it. As in, like
Yep.
if I were to ask you, Rahul, that next year, like with the players, what could you maximum
With
achieve?
the same players.
I'm pretty sure your answer is yeah. I'm pretty sure the answer is going to be top four. It is just that the ambition and as in like think about when it was like 2002 or 2003. As in, like the only option is winning the title. Otherwise, it is don't care.
Yeah.
This
No,
this
but
entire argument, like
So
and I feel that like managers like Ole and Arteta, I don't think so they can win titles ever.
oh, ever.
I don't think so they can win
it's a
titles.
good thing you mentioned that,
Ev-
actually.
ev-
Just a second. Yeah, Sheldon. No, I think that's actually where I was coming from when I said is Arsenal are 10th. Don't think about Arsenal that you know all the problems that they have for the 2 seasons. Just think about Arsenal Football Club and how big they are. Is it okay for them to be 10th? And that's the thing. That's the lowering of expectations. And to give my opinion on it, as far as Arteta is concerned, when Arsenal were going through that run, and we were talking about it, like you mentioned, they look clueless. Arteta was talking about, oh, we're putting these many crosses. Statistically, this is going to result in a goal, etc., etc. I thought he was done. That was it. I thought he'd be gone by Christmas. But to be fair to him, he's really turned it around. Like the tactics, the players that he's brought in, and the kind of football they're playing, and you have that for me is enough signs there to persist with him going forward, because I feel like there is. I know people used to say a lot of, before that they can see what Arteta is doing. They can see what Arteta is doing last season when they won the FA Cup, and when they were picking up a few results. But for me, that never seemed like Arsenal. That never seemed like a sustainable way of playing, because he made them compact. You're playing with a back three. You're playing deep. You're playing counter attack. That's not Arsenal Football Club. That's not how you're going to take it forward. And then when you had that run of form, I thought that was it. That's the end for Arteta. But then what I've seen since then actually looks sustainable, actually looks like something that you can carry forward into next
Yeah,
season,
that's what I'm
and maybe
saying.
with one or two
Yeah.
additions can start getting up and pushing. I know the expectations
So,
are low at this point in time. It's about getting into the
right.
top four. That's where Liverpool were a few seasons ago.
Yeah,
We were
one step
struggling
at
to
a
get into the
time.
top four.
Yeah. But I like definitely
Yeah,
this
and
next year is not going to be the year that we are going to win title for sure. Like there is no way we are going to win title next year. But
No, but what I'm asking is, do you think Arteta could ever win a title?
yeah,
yeah, I think
I
that's
think
a
he could. I
really,
mean,
go ahead.
he's still untested enough to sort of not have that confidence in him to win that title, but somehow I feel like he can do it given enough time and maybe a bit resources, because like you have to think that he is just in his first sort of full on managerial assignment, right? This is his first assignment. He has always been like a number two to Pep, and he was a player like 5 years back. So he is pretty new at this. So with time, I feel unless there is a big dip in form or whatever, I feel like he has in him to sort of win a title. I feel, but not
Interesting.
the
not not
question is also
yeah.
go
No, no,
ahead, go ahead.
like
Were
just
you
I
saying
was saying
something?
like not in like the near future, maybe long term. Go ahead.
But the thing is that uh, okay, let me
We should
ask you
probably
this. Does
should we also like while this conversation is going on, let's also try to segue
Yeah,
towards
United.
United as well.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah,
we are
just
like
okay. No,
we
no,
are
no,
at
no.
a
Okay,
yeah,
this would
yeah.
be a
yeah.
good segue.
Can I just say something though before we move on that? And that'll be probably another segue as well. So yeah, you mentioned Ole and Arteta. I don't think those two can be compared, because, like Rahul said, Arteta is in his first managerial role. There are a lot of good things that you see. You kind of, I mean, I know time is at a premium at these big football clubs, but you can warrant giving him time based on the fact that he's new and based on the fact that some of the things that you've seen. But with Ole, right, I think this gets forgotten that Ole's been a manager for 10 years. Like he's been
Yeah,
managing for a
I
long time now. He's been at Molda, he was at Cardiff.
Cardiff.
Molda's probably what, League One championship level at best. To
Yeah,
go from there to Manchester United, it's just not, you just don't see that. That's not the kind of progression that you think it doesn't feel right to me. You know, no manager should go from managing a championship or a league or team to going to Manchester United. So I will always
That's
have
true.
doubts about Oli in that sense, and I feel like there is a ceiling
I,
which he'll probably struggle to break. But on that note, you can take over. And we can talk about
Nisarg,
match.
do you want to answer that question
Yeah,
first?
as in I can probably start. As in, I think you're talking about the ceiling. I think we've already hit that ceiling. Uh, he as a manager definitely relies on good players, uh, and like and I think that model is not sustainable. As in, you can have 11 good players, which Real Madrid had at one point, and they probably weren't still winning everything. And that, like, I think that is kind of what Ole would need to win a title, and I don't think so that will happen given our owners and how shit investment has been over the past I don't know how many years. And the other thing, like also like just bringing back the games, right? Like I just was feeling like I was seeing the worst game after the other. Like I was like, okay, it cannot get worse than this. And then they'll pull up another game which is even worse. Granted, against Chelsea, a point is something that I would have taken any
Join the
day.
club, mate.
But yeah, and against, I think like the game against Crystal Palace was horrible. I can't use any adjectives that are like I am running out of adjectives in terms of
Diabolical.
describing how bad it was. Yeah, as in
You went
seriously,
full on
I was
Liverpool.
hoping that the fog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what that
Yeah,
fog was, man. Seriously.
Oh yeah, the fog.
like I
Yeah.
was hoping that it would get denser so that I don't see the game. As in, it was that bad. It was horrible. It was like I didn't want to watch it. At least that would have been a good excuse that there's fog. I can't see what
Even
is
the
happening,
players,
and I can't see the horror show
even
that
the
is
players
going
didn't
on.
want to see
It
each other, right? Like there was this video that came about
yeah,
Rashford
Yeah,
and
it looks like they
Maguire.
couldn't see each other.
Oh no, I'm
I
being sarcastic.
See,
yeah, it is. As in the dependence on one creative midfielder is just not good enough. As in it is teams would just surround that one person, which even happened before. It was Pogba before. Now it is Bruno, and
I don't even call
like
him a
the games where
midfielder.
Manchester,
Sorry. Yeah, I wouldn't even call
yeah,
Bruno a midfielder, to be honest. I think he's basically a
that's
second striker, or even he's probably the highest player in the world
he's
at times.
he's the attacking midfielder. He plays as a number 10. Yeah, I mean,
Does he really
yeah,
pick
I
the
mean,
ball between the lines though? I don't see him picking
yeah.
the ball between the lines and turning as a number 10 would. It seems like he's always somewhere on the shoulder or he's just picking up little pockets of
No,
space,
he's
but he's
you
generally
may
high
you
up the pitch.
may you may want to watch some of the Crystal Palace games where he dropped pretty deep. I thought at quite a few times because there was no.
But that's the thing,
You know
that's
what?
not his game. I don't think that's his game to do that. And the fact that he's having to do that is probably an indictment of the midfield.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I,
I here's the thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nisarg, but the fact that you know what we have Fred and McTominay behind, playing behind
or a
Bruno. We
Matic.
have or a Matic, and neither of those three players are creative players to begin with, and
Yeah.
it is really hard to make that transition between defense and midfield over there. So you have people like Bruno who's got to either drop back or even if he and the opposition have become very smart. They know that if they give any space to Bruno in the final third, that's going to be it. There's going to be at least he's going to create something and someone's going to score. So they kind of just if you see he's always surrounded by the defenders at that point in time, and he ends up losing the ball cheaply quite a bit. And obviously his run of form hasn't been the great in the past. What do you call handful of games, 5 games or whatever. But it's I think the fact that okay, you do mention that Ollie is not, he's had he actually I think he started off at the same time Pep did, by the way. So he hasn't made that. He hasn't had a great progression as far as his managerial career is concerned. What makes Ollie really good is the fact that he's a great man manager. Like he's a great motivator for that matter, which is why he hasn't lost the dressing room, and I don't think he will unless he's got a really bad run, unless we finish in the bottom half of the table or
Yeah,
something like
he'll probably use trust from the owners before he loses trust from his players,
that.
most likely.
Exactly. And the thing I notice about Sir Alex Ferguson is that Ferguson wasn't the best tactician. He had really good tactical coaches under him. Like he had what's his name, Carlos Queiroz, and quite a few.
Mike
His
Phelan.
Mike
yeah,
Phelan
no,
at
not
that
my
time.
I think you all had some.
Rene Mullenstein. So all of those were actually the coaches. Those are the tacticians behind. So this is what I keep harping on, is that Ollie, he needs to break out of that mold of trying to get United ex players to be his coaches, because they're not gifted that way. You
This
need to kind of
He still
go
has to
ahead.
set the philosophy though, Sheldon. That's especially in modern management. It's all about he has to set the philosophy. He has to set the style of play. Like, okay, if you want to play progressive, if you want to play a high line, you want to play a high press, then there's certain things that you have to work on. You have to target the right profile of player. And he has the say on that. Right? He has the final say on that. He needs to be absolutely clear on this is the profile of player I want. And then based on the players, you may have to adapt a little bit. And then also the fitness and all these things. I just don't see that there is no philosophy at play here. I mean, you can't have coaches do all that. Coaches will implement certain things. They'll run training sessions, all of that, yes. But it still has a lot of things still have to come from the manager.
It does, and I feel that he's kind of. I mean, I'm kind of guilty of giving him the shaft as well. But you know what? It's kind of out in the press as well that he wanted Sancho, he wanted Grealish, he wanted a centre back in the summer and stuff like that. So it's it's hard to gauge what a manager could do with this
No,
team when
but
he is not
no,
being
but
given the
that's sort of the
required.
discussion that we had for the same Liverpool and Arsenal teams, right? It's you
Yeah.
got to play as a manager. You still got to play with the team at the end of the day, and you make sure that they play the best. Like there was this time when Sir Alex Ferguson won with such a bad team. I remember a photo. I don't remember exactly who the players were.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah,
think
but
that's
Evans
a yeah. I
cleverly.
know.
so
So
so that's when I know what you mean. I think we had, and it's funny because we played like I think six defenders against Arsenal and we beat them like 2-1 or something like that. The point over here is that the Alex Ferguson, when he built his team, he had he there was a step by step process. He had ex players who were match winners, and the thing is, all the other players when they would come in, they would raise their game. They would play more than their potential was. I mean, uh, can you believe it? We won the I think the league with players like Cleverly in
Yeah.
our midfield, Anderson,
Gibson
who's
cleverly.
yeah, exactly. Those players are not great players. They're not even good players in that. I
So
would
so
say they are
so
like
Oli has better players.
It's a, that's the you're,
average at
Is he cutting out?
that point in time.
Is he cutting off?
Leaders
Yeah, he's typing out a
Oh.
bit.
Sheldon, you're talking about mentality,
Oh,
right? Again, that's basically the manager's job to instill that as well.
and leadership. The thing is, you can't instill leadership in the players. You've got to be naturally like you. For example, Bruno is a natural leader. I don't know how many more, and Cavani probably has those leadership abilities in him. But other than that, there are very few people who are able to kind of have that mentality. And I don't know if it means like shelling out more money to try and get more players in. But at this point, if you ask me, if we, right at the start of the season, if taking second position, I would say yes, I would gladly take that as of now, because I don't think this team is deserving of that second position. I think that we've the results we've obtained and the fact that the rest of the league has kind of sucked has kind of gotten us to this position. But I feel like we need a lot more reinforcements right now.
yeah, and I think we've been saying that for quite some years. That is where my issue lies. And I think most most clubs nowadays, I think City has probably set that precedence that like to solve a problem of a club, the only way to do it is to buy new players. I don't think so that is the case. As in there has to be more than that. As in, like, for example, what like we I talked about probably Arteta not being the right guy, but one thing that what he has been doing is trusting his young players. I don't see Ole doing that at all. As in, like he like giving like he is not brave. As in, and that is what I fear the most. As in, I'm seeing some like shadows of Jose Mourinho, LVG playing safe, playing to not concede, and that is what annoys me the most. As in, United has never been that side. Like, yeah, I agree that most of the United sides are great counter-attacking teams. I don't mind that. I really don't mind being counter-attacking. But at the same time, there has to be flair. There has to be aggressiveness. As in, imagine Alex Ferguson putting someone like a Makeda in an Aston Villa game that was so critical to the season, and he's scoring. I can't see Oli making any bold moves. Forget bold moves. He didn't even make third substitutes in a game. Where, and that is what actually is very scary. Where you start playing a team for your job, saving your job. I think that is pretty much a downfall. At that point, you should probably just quit and not worry about it, because there
But
is
do
no
you
future.
think the management is going to push him out, or he, because he's not making a lot of noise about players and getting like sort of new players for the squad and all, he'll be.
The management is just looking for top four at the end of the day. And if Oli can deliver top four, I mean, if he can deliver second for that
Doesn't have
matter,
to take
he's
top.
overachieved for that matter.
Do you think he'll extend his contract if he gets top
Yeah,
four?
Oh,
yeah,
when is it
absolutely.
expiring?
If top four,
When is
yes,
it
for sure.
expiring?
I think you have next year, I
This
Oh,
think.
year.
this year.
This
2022,
year,
right?
no?
I think it's
Oh
expiring.
yeah, yeah,
So
2020.
he has 1 year left on his contract. Yeah, it will
So I think
be.
they'll
Yeah.
definitely have to renew it in the summer, because I don't think players will want to join. Generally, when they know
Yeah,
the manager is
everyone's
Yeah.
around
looking to
for a long term.
that consistency. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So yeah, as in for me, that lack of braveness, if you want to call that, is the most worrying bit. Like you see it with any manager. As in, you have to be brave. You live and die by the sword. I think. As in, you make certain decisions. If it doesn't make, or if it doesn't work, yeah, it sucks. It's okay. But at least you tried making the decision. So, yeah, again, that is where my gripe is in the last few games. It's just that, yeah, Bruno should have been taken off in a lot of these games. I know
yeah,
that there
yeah.
wasn't a replacement, but like, yeah, today, for example, like in the Liverpool Chelsea game, Klopp had the balls to take Salah off and bring Ox on. And I know probably I'm not defending whether it was the right or the wrong move. I'm just saying that it was, you're seeing something, it is not working, you replace the player. No player or no one is above the team. And I feel that more and more of that is happening. I'm pretty sure he would never drop Rashford, he'll never drop Bruno, he'll never drop Maguire. And there is definitely favoritism in the team. And I don't feel so that it's sustainable as a successful manager.
Sir, yeah, and I completely agree with whatever points you've mentioned. The If we were to just, if I had to play devil's advocate right now, the only reason I would say him playing Bruno is because Bruno is that sort of a player who can create, or he may do something out of nothing. He could have like say about 75 to 80 minutes of a crappy game, but then there would be like this moment of magic where he actually ends up scoring a goal. So that's probably one reason for actually keeping him on. And I don't think there was anyone else on the bench that was able to do any further could
And
to
I
help
think
the team further. The As far as Rashford is concerned, I think that there have been news coming out that he's carrying a long-term injury. He'll probably have like a shoulder surgery at the after the Euros and stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like players like him need to be rested just because he's young, and if he needs to have a long career and stuff like that, you need to make sure that he's not burnt out early. So I think Rashford and Maguire, I think he's being played not because of him being a favorite of Oli. I think it's because of his price tag.
one of the other things, right? I think a lot is made about subs in general. For me, it's more than just bringing somebody on in place of somebody. It's about tactical changes. How do you change up the shape to change the game in some way? Because if you're
Yeah,
crying out for a change, it means something is not working. So how do you change that? It's not always take out one player and bring on another, especially when do you really have that quality of substitute who will come and be an obvious upgrade on what you have right now? I'm not sure. I think that's kind of the case with Liverpool as well. But yeah, we won't go into that. But I think it's probably a more general discussion, because I think a lot is made in general of, a lot of it is hindsight, of course, but what the players that are picked, the players that are subbed on, there's too much talk around that for my liking in general. I think there's always things deeper than that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and everything is dictated by the result rather than, if you see how people react at the start of the game when they see the lineup versus how they react afterwards. There's a lot of hindsight in
Yeah.
that. But anyway, yeah, I think that's probably a more
Yeah, as in there is
philosophical side.
definitely hindsight, but yeah, for me it is just the bravery aspect. It's just very scary right now that like the fear about not conceding or uh,
Yeah,
not
that
being aggressive enough is is not Man
But
United for
like
me.
to be honest,
think
As in
like
that's in
I'm
the
pretty
way they play as well. It's not just substitutions. I think it's the way they play.
yeah
It's
yeah
just he's so cautious. Too many players offering protection, not enough options.
but then
yeah.
but
As
then
in,
United are
Yeah,
on
well,
second position, right? So he doesn't need to do a lot of different things. Like if it's working,
I
no,
think
see,
that's
yeah,
what
that
he's
is
saying,
where
that he's saving his job,
that
yeah.
is
basically. He's just
so
holding.
basically right now it is throwing the white towel, right? That is what is it saying that okay, City has won. I'm not saying that City has not won the title. They are clear, like they are ways clear than everyone, but not offering a fight is not something that a United team would ever have done. Like I'm pretty sure, like, and even probably you guys would agree, even Rahul, like Arsenal back then, even if you're 20 points of the title, you play each game
Yeah,
to win
of
it.
course.
You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like that is why what I felt like against Chelsea, we did not play to win at all. There was no risk
But
taken.
that's the
Like look
but
at
that
the amount
has
of
been the
zero
theme,
zeros
right?
and
Yeah, that has been the theme against the top 16, like against top six.
no even no even not the top six. Consider all the games we have. I think won most games this season by one goal. It's it is we haven't got a convincing win. We have got a like we have passed by because of moments of brilliance. It is never sustained pressure. It is never by taking risk. It is never by playing adventurous football. I think like if you eliminate the Southampton game, which was an exception, but other than that, I don't think so. There was one game where I'm sitting comfortably and like, yeah, there is going to be attacks, wave and wave and wave of attacks. It's never
but
been the case.
do you think that the fact that this slump in form has kind of begun since the start of, since you started playing games in the Europa? Because that he's fielding pretty much the same team in both over the weekend and midweek.
I think it was
And I
before
don't
As in,
think,
probably Pogba getting injured, if I had to point to
yeah,
anything.
yeah. I think
yeah,
I think probably Pogba getting injured was definitely the critical moment. But yeah, as I said, like even before that, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
since we were winning, it was these things were not being
That's
discussed,
always the
and
case,
now
yeah,
isn't it? That's what
once
I was
once
saying.
you
Like,
have
Look, I
like
I
I,
actually,
no,
yeah,
like
go ahead.
these things come to fore only when team is not performing. There are no points on the board. That's always when these sort of conversations come up, right? Like you are more critical of everything, and but yeah, go in.
Not to blow my own trumpet, but I think, I don't know if you guys remember, but when United were top, I think it was one of the shows when they were just, when they got to the top or something, that I asked you guys if you think it's sustainable, because even then I was seeing some of those results, the Wolves game, the Villa game, where it was just one moment, a break which is falling your way. But if you look at the game as a whole, there's not much. There was never much to pick between the two teams. It was certain breaks that were falling United's way, and I did question back then if it was sustainable. And I think, yeah, I mean, I could say I sort of saw this coming, but I think anybody who's seen United over the course of the season, over that 2 months period where they were really good, I mean, yeah, they were going behind, they were starting games really bad, they were coming back to win games, they were just, like you said, moments. It's all about moments.
the
Yeah.
the like just like Liverpool, how your top, your front three haven't been kicking on. Our front three have been abysmal as well. I mean,
yeah
uh, if we look at last season, Martial scored so many goals. Martial has been completely invisible. We depended on Greenwood. I mean, Greenwood scored quite a few goals as well. He chipped in quite a bit last season, and this season has been kind of. Uh, I mean, I don't know if it's that one season he actually had a really good But this season he hasn't performed as well. He hasn't contributed as much as far as the goals are concerned. So that's the other thing. Cavani has come in. He has provided, those crucial moments of magic, and has kind of helped us with those points. But in terms of, I mean,
That's the key, right?
the
Moment.
amount of, yeah, I know. But the thing is that the amount of chances, for example, Luke Shaw has been a revelation. He's created so many chances which should have been at the back of the net, and our forwards aren't doing that. So, do you? I don't know if I want to say it's that the way we play is that completely needs to change, or is the fact that our strikers need to be firing. If we could actually put those chances away, we would be having a different conversation right now.
No, but again, I think it's about the sustainability bit. I don't think so. It's sustainable. Like what really is sustainable is when you have waves and waves of attacks and not rely on moments in a game.
This is
And
the
I think that
argument.
never happens.
This is the argument that you're having, right? That you need to create enough chances. You can be clinical, but there is only so much you can be clinical, right? If you create 2 chances a game, it's really, you can't expect players to take those 2 chances every single time. The only way you score more goals is to create more chances. And the more you create, the more chance that you'll probably take 1 or 2 of them. And
I
I
then
mean,
know.
we do have this conversation every week, like this
no,
goals
that's the
No,
and
no,
thing.
no.
It's
I
not that.
understand.
Of course, you want to be clinical. Who wouldn't
yeah,
want your forwards
no,
to be
but
clinical?
at
That
this
goes
point,
without saying. But
no, at
you
this,
can't expect.
but
You can't
I
expect them to have
understand.
100%
but
conversion rate. That's never going to
I
but
happen.
United's
understand
forward
that.
are
But
not
at the
doing
end of
that,
the
right?
day,
Are not even converting
United
I don't think they're
forward.
creating enough
even a
chances.
bucket full of
I don't think they're
chances.
creating
No,
enough chances.
United have been solely dependent on Bruno to create chances for them. If you look at our wingers are not creative. What do you call
They
wingers who
don't. Our
chances?
wingers don't cross a ball in the box.
Ah, when was the last time Rashford crossed the ball? He doesn't exploit the byline. He does not. I've never seen him shoot with his left foot. By the way, now that I was just thinking the other day. I mean, he doesn't cross with his left foot. And then you have, it's Van Bissaka on the right side. He hasn't been, and the fact that we've brought in Cavani, if we play Cavani, try to have aerial crosses. That's also not happening. So, I mean, when you're talking about
Well,
chances, I mean, players are not creating chances. You can't
Exactly.
just rely on Bruno.
That's the point, right? It's not just about taking them. It's not creating enough. At the end of the day, if you don't create enough, you're never going to score enough goals to win
Yep.
games, and that's kind of the dominance aspect.
Yep.
I think
Yeah.
I was talking about, and
Yep.
just
I
having
guess.
play. Anyway, yeah, I think.
Yeah, I guess this can go on and on.
yeah.
I hope this different take on just looking at the states of the team was something that you guys liked, and we'll try to just bring something new. We are trying to get more and more candid, and try to
Yeah,
see if
hopefully we did good this week.
yeah, and hopefully it is something different and something that you guys like. So before we wrap up, yeah, I guess again, please like, share, subscribe, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and we'll see you soon. And Hopefully the fortunes change for good. There is a big Manchester derby
Yeah.
coming up. Let's see if we can break the winning record.
I just
Uh,
want to go to sleep and wake up at the end of the season.
yeah. No, Avinash, you'll definitely have to give more opinions before that. But with that, I think we can call it the day, and see you guys, and have a good rest of your week, and enjoy the football.
Bye.